How big was a samurai on horseback? Were they these tall, formidable knights, or were they much shorter, because the Japanese are much shorter, and what most people don't know is their horses are much shorter. So let's have a look at some of the Japanese horses. But I've done this joke before, but here you go, just for fun. This is more like what a samurai would be on horseback instead of a Western knight. Very small, very more like a knight on a pony. Now here we have the Hokkaido horse, and this is from a book, I'll show the book in a minute, called from the publisher DK and his horses. Now actually most of samurai horses could be technically classed as ponies. Now according to this book, they came over in the 3rd century AD, and they've, many different breeds have come around from then. But of course this one they're saying is used for Yabusame, which is if you look on the left, the archery there. So these are much smaller than Western big shire horses, big war horses. These are technically, I suppose, ponies. So we have to remember that the Japanese are only about 5 feet tall. So it's a 5 foot tall person on a large pony, as opposed to a relatively larger person on a larger horse. And of course you have to take into height differences in Europe at the time, but we're not going to go too technical on that. We're focusing on the Japanese. So there may be a foot difference between the knight and the samurai, maybe. Now this one is the Tokara, and basically it says here that they found them in the 20th century, but they are from older ponies, which are from the late 1800s. Of course, they would have been there probably in the Sengoku period, or at least their ancestors would have been, because we've all got ancestors. And what we have here again are small ponies, and again, this is not representative for 100% of the Japanese pony, but we know that this is the type of thing we're looking at. So here we have 13 hands, and it's 132 centimeters. So 13 hands is not big for a horse. 18 hands is a big horse. So whereas 13 hands is much smaller, and we're gauging onto pony, and even quoting this book as the pony. Now this information came from the book The Horse Encyclopedia by DK. I got it sent to me from one of my students called Tyrell from Natto Reviews, so thank you to him. And basically this is a quick video because my followers know that I'm actually in the middle of moving at the minute, so it's short on the internet. So if you've come across this video in the future, then sorry for the short video. But that's just to give you a highlight of why we should rethink how the samurai look on horseback. It doesn't make them any less of warriors, doesn't make them any great, but they definitely were not as tall as knights on horseback. Even though we might over-exaggerate the height of knights on horseback as well, there's still a difference. So I'll just show you them samurai racing again. We have to remember the samurai were fast horsemen. They charged, they went up mountains, they had different horses to do different things. They were bearing flags, and they had different colours, they had rituals and customs behind the horses, but it was more like sturdy ponies as opposed to these more modern horses there. Please get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido, which explains a lot more about the samurai and helps you get into the world of the samurai.